I grew up in Riverside County my whole life. I never really moved around too much. I can probably think of 2 or 3 times my entire childhood when I moved. I was born in the Loma Linda University Medical Center in 1982, and I think it was a big deal because I was the only one who was born at that hospital, which, if you know anything about Loma Linda, it's an Adventist community, kind of the Adventist Mecca of Southern California. My brother and sisters were born at Riverside Community Hospital, which is gone now. School? I went to Norco Christian Academy for about 8 years. I started there in kindergarten and stayed there until about 7th grade. And before that, I went to Twin Hills Elementary, although I don't think that really counts. That was more of a daycare preschool setting. It's funny because most people couldn't wait to get out of grade school, but I spent so much time at Norco Elementary, Norco Christian Academy. It's had so many names since I've been there. I look back at Norco and I have mixed feelings because they were so informal there. The education was, it's kind of one of those, we're learning as we're going along. They would take, for instance, grades 1 through 6 and squeeze them all into one classroom. One teacher for 6 grades. But at the same time, I also had some of my fondest memories there. For instance, the first time I ever met a tomboy was a girl named Crystal. I was in the 4th grade, and the first time I saw Crystal, I thought she was just a very husky boy. And we were at break or recess, lunchtime, and Crystal said she had to go wash up. So she walked into the girls' restroom, and before I could say anything, one of the teachers came up to me and said, "Ben, did you see that boy go into the bathroom, the girls' bathroom?" And I said, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on either." The teacher walked in right after her and came out, her face red as anything. She said, "Oh my God, I didn't know that was a girl." I said, "Well, neither did I." After my experiences at Norco, I went to Redlands Boys Academy, which is a story all in its own because maybe I'll tell you about that some other time. But that was high school, 2 years of high school, before I thought I had enough of it, took the exit exams, and bounced, so to speak. You know, most people have a habit of asking me what my ethnicity is. And honestly, I don't know what to tell them. Because I have Spanish, I have English, a little German, maybe a bit of Irish, and maybe just a touch of Arab. It's really hard for me to say. But I do know that my family has been in the U.S. for the better part of 400 years, maybe more. We're an old family, if what my parents tell me is to be believed. Because according to family lore, we are one of the 10% of Americans who can claim, or rather trace their roots back to the Mayflower. Now that's if what I've been told my whole life is true. But aside from that, I really couldn't say. I want to say this or that, but I'm just an American. I'm a little mixed on this because I don't like the word religion. That's not to say that I'm not someone with religious beliefs. It's just that I feel there are too many negative thoughts associated with the word religion. However, I was raised in a Christian home. To me, Christianity and religion are two different things. I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home, which is probably why my parents chose the Loma Linda University Hospital. Because, like I said before, the Loma Linda University Medical Center is part of the Adventist community in Loma Linda, California. As such, I was raised with Adventist beliefs, which is, I guess, I don't know how to describe them other than being another Protestant reform of the Protestant reform. When you get down to it, the Protestants broke off from Catholicism. And even within the Protestant faith, there were several other Protestant breakoffs, and the Seventh-day Adventists are just another product of that, with an almost unique view of Christianity. However, my own beliefs that I've come to hold, my own conclusions about faith and God are my own, and in a sense I am the black sheep of my family. However, they are very Adventist at its core. I think anyone living in Southern California could tell you that it's a culture shock. If you have never lived here or been here, and you suddenly find yourself in this part of the state, it is a shock. We're not the most conservative part of the state, to be sure. And in a sense, I think I am very fortunate to be here. Because we are in a part of the country that is one of the most diverse places that you can find anywhere. I think that if I lived in the Midwest, had lived in the Midwest my whole life, my view on things from religion to marriage to gay civil rights would be so much more different. Even something as transgender rights, I don't think I would have the same attitudes on that as I would if I were to live anywhere else. The thing about Southern California is that we are experiencing the same kind of cultural diversity that the United Colonies first experienced with the first wave of immigrants in the 17th and 18th century. Even religion, rather, even theology, is something that we have a different take on here. I like to think that the megachurches started in Southern California. I like to think that the idea of a pastor wearing sandals and shorts, the surfer pastor, started in Southern California. So yes, I think that living in Southern California has changed the way I see the rest of the world, has changed the way that I see much of anything. I have spent more time at RCC than I care to really remember. That's not to say that I haven't benefited at all. It's just that I have spent so much time here because I didn't know what I wanted to do. If I had taken any anthropology class years ago, then I think I would have had a better idea of what I want to do. I know wherever I go next, it will have a focus on anthropology. Maybe not cultural. I'll admit, I am a people watcher. But anthropology, I think, has become one of those things that I have a greater appreciation for than I ever could have imagined. I think before I came to RCC, I had no idea what anthropology was. I think that cultural anthropology should be one of those I get to see courses that every student has to take, because I know what I want to do, and I'm just so sorry I didn't do this sooner.